did you guys prepare for them, and did you see anything differently from them from the first time around?
No, I mean, we had a strange week of preparation. I'm sure Matt and his staff did too with the all the rain we got. We were bouncing around trying to get on a couple different practice fields that we have. Indiana High was really gracious enough to, make time for us to go up there Wednesday just to get on some solid footing and get some things accomplished. So it was a strange week, and sometimes that concerns you as a coach and as a staff. But our kids were able to adapt, and from their standpoint, I don't blame them for coming out and doing what they have been doing for several weeks. They've been running the ball successfully, so I can't say enough about our defense and our defensive coaches.
And something I noticed too on offense was the yards after contact that the kids were getting tonight. It just looked like they were running with pure heart.
They were. I mean, we have. I think we have three pretty solid running backs. I always talk with Matt Miles that he doesn't get as many carries out of that swing back position, but boy, he had a couple really nice runs tonight that got us going. And Lee setting the rushing record, and Bossa, just those guys. Sometimes I think they run with a rage, because guys know what we want to do. Other teams and sometimes we're going against a stacked deck defensively, and the guys up front create some seams, and those guys really make it go.
And the offensive line too, making holes for them, and they've been pretty solid for you guys all year.
They have a cohesiveness. Coach Gene Raymond and Coach Nick Raymond work primarily with those guys, and they have a great relationship with them. Purchase line has some nice size on the defensive line and some tough kids with the Scalise kid and Marsh and some of those guys. And it's just one of those things, you just got to come off the football. There were times we got a little bogged down, but all in all, when we needed to get the yards that we had to accomplish, we were able to do the job.
How fun was it for you to be able to see Jesse get the rushing record, especially off of Ian and everything?
Yeah, I mean, what a football family. I mean, I know, they're both proud of that. Ian was a special back for us on a district championship team, and Jesse came in right. Well, Jesse was a freshman when Ian was a senior, and what I've said about those two guys is they play the game with such competitiveness and intensity, and those are kind of things that are hard to teach kids at this level and even during this time. But they attack the game that way, and it's no wonder, like you said, yards after contact. Jesse's been one of our better guys over the course of several years that runs the ball that way, and I'm proud for him and in our program. I'm proud for his family. You couldn't find two better kids that want to make Homer Center football better.
Something else I noticed too, Ben seemed a little more calm tonight for you. How has he been preparing and how has he been improving?
I think the first indication was the first play. We called a boot pass, and he rolled, and he didn't force it, and he gets 7 or 8 yards on his own by just taking off because he took what the defense gave him. And then further along in that first drive, he executed one of our bread and butter plays to hit Alcon for the first score, and it's a calmness and a poise that needs to occur. I knew he would be I knew he'd be further along this time playing purchase line than he would the first time, because that was his first varsity start, and that's a difficult thing to put a kid in. But he's made strides, and we didn't throw for a lot of yards tonight, but he hit some balls when we needed to.
And with the win, you're going to have home field next week too, and a big game, whether it's Portage or Ferndale. What are you expecting out of that game?
Well, we're going to go check that one out. I'm sure Portage is considered the favorite. I'm sure they would like another opportunity to come down here after a great game 2 weeks ago. We have a lot of respect for their kids and their staff, their overall program. Ferndale is one of those teams that I think has been up and coming over the last couple of years. The staff they have there now has just been tremendous, because that's a really small school, and they've got that program headed in the right direction with a lot of enthusiasm. It's hard to say who will come out on top of that game. We have to obviously see who that is, and then just prepare the best we can again next week.
And if it is Portage, do you think that the kids are looking forward to possibly playing them again?
I would hope that the mindset of our kids is no matter who's coming to town, that we're going to prepare as hard as we can, and we're going to get somebody's best shot. And from there, they have to go out and want to get the job done. Their will and their confidence level at this point are very, very high. And you have to have that going into a district semifinal game. I mean, they have to respect whoever the opponent is and really prepare as hard as we can. But when it comes down to it, it might be more coming from us. It might be more of a mental thing than anything else.
And how neat is it to do this 2 years in a row? It's almost like a mirror image of last year, the way that you guys are progressing through the season. Obviously with a different team, but
Yeah.
just to get to the semis again. How neat is that?
It has almost mirrored. Some of the opponents have been a little bit different, and it's quite a few of the same guys from last year, and I love it. I mean, you saw this atmosphere tonight. We're standing here now shivering, but it had to be in the 20s or maybe high teens through a lot of the game. I know when people were involved in the game and their focus is on what's going on in the field, they probably don't feel as cold. It was a cold night, and we have a tremendous atmosphere here. I mean, and I have to say this too, it just doesn't extend through who's at the game. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that say in this community or in other states that are from here that say they listen to the game on the radio broadcast. And that kind of following is something that these kids, they respect, and it's just something that drives all of us. I know it drives me. I feel a tremendous amount of pride when you're playing for, an area that just has so much passion for their team.
Very good.